Today's guest is absolutely remarkable. She's mastered the art of building empires in both new and old industries. Kinga Strogoff is the CEO of a third-generation scrap metal company, a board member at Basalt International, and the force behind Kinga Steel, the brand that's become synonymous with unfiltered truth and relentless dedication. Kinga, guys, she's just freaking incredible. She's an immigrant from Poland, came here and built the most incredible life that I was blessed to actually share with you guys today. Her core belief is simple, but radical. To achieve anything meaningful in life, you must have an obsession. In this episode, we'll uncover her incredible story of coming to America as an au pair, marrying an incredible individual, and building not only a fascinating company in a male-dominated industry, but also achieving self-actualization. We'll explore her controversial philosophy on why obsession beats balance every single time. And we'll discover her resilient strategies that have allowed her to build multiple successful ventures while inspiring millions through authentic storytelling and refusing to compromise on her value. Guys, today is a banger. I'm so happy to bring on Kinga Strogoff to the Founder to Founder podcast. Meet Kintsugi, the AI-powered tax compliance platform trusted by over 3,000 companies worldwide. Powered by Vertex, Kintsugi simplifies the sales tax process over 11,000 U.S. jurisdictions, Canada, and the EU, cutting compliance work from that long 40 hours a month to just 10 minutes. E-commerce companies that do the switch save over 50 to 70%. No long-term contracts, and of course, that unmatched level of support. With seamless integrations to Shopify, Amazon, QuickBooks, and more, the onboarding to Kintsugi takes less than 30 minutes. So, Kintsugi, smarter, faster, more affordable tax compliance. Put the pieces together with Kintsugi. All right, we're here on another episode of the Founder to Founder podcast. Today we have a special guest. Kinga, thank you so much for coming on this incredible, what I like to say is an incredible podcast, but I think everyone listening today is going to hear your incredible story. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So let's go all the way back. Okay, we'll get to where we are today, but let's go back, and I want to kind of share and tell the audience where your journey started, and just kind of paint the picture from childhood till now, because we'll get into now, and it's really an incredible story, and I think people are going to love it. But I always like to kind of peel back the onion a bit and say, where did this all start for you?
So I was born in a little town in Poland, Gniezno. That was first capital of Poland, but really small, little, almost I want to call it a village comparing to United States towns. And I was just, just a regular little girl growing up with a family. We just passed the communism, so it wasn't easy. Poland, as you guys know, all the wars, then communism, difficult, upbringing, and we didn't have much. I always remember, I even tell to these days to my son, who is 7 now, I look at oranges and bananas. I'm like, did you know I only have those for Christmas, like for holidays, because they were all imported from other countries.
Yeah.
So I was young, like I want to say my son's age now, when I saw my mom. My mom has 3 sisters, and they would switch times so they can go to the store and wait in line to buy a vacuum cleaner, because there was like 20 vacuum cleaner for a town allowed.
Everyone was like waiting for it.
Yeah, so it was just interesting. But for us, it was normal. I had a great childhood. We were playing outside. I remember getting always dirty, climbing the trees. And I always had this passion for travel. I always knew there was more. And now, at this age, while, my story is, still keep growing, I don't want it more. I want it all.
Wow, that's so interesting. I have a very similar backstory, immigrant parents, really, 5 boys in my family, and we have really not. My mom used to clean houses to make money, and then she would drive, the yellow school bus. She wanted to make money driving her 5 boys to school, so she would drive the school bus. The kids would make fun of you. Your mom is the bus driver, but I was like, I don't know. For us, we got the chicken nuggets the next day, and it was worth it. And there's something that you learn in that process.
Right.
And at the time, you don't even know you're learning it. And, we'll get into the entrepreneurship angle.
Mhm.
But what, like thinking back, those really humble beginnings, what are some key lessons looking back that like those early beginnings taught you that have never left you?
Want to say I never stopped dreaming.
Mm,
I always been a big dreamer, but remember, some dreams can be your nightmares. So
mm,
that's another lesson. But I was always believing that everything's gonna be okay. And I always had this inside me. I was always very spiritual since I was a little kid, and I could almost envision things. Some
wow.
people might not understand this on the
Yeah.
level of my understanding.
So tell us more about that. Is that like a manifestation? Like, are you having visions?
I just don't want to say people overuse the manifestation word. Okay,
What does that mean?
Everybody's manifesting. I mean, first of all, let's go to manifestation.
Yes.
Be very careful what you wish for.
Ooh.
Because there's a lot of times, and I've done it myself, my manifestation would bite me in the ass.
Wow. What is one thing you manifested that bit you in the ass?
Relationships. Relationships for
Yeah.
once, some
Yeah.
business deals. And, later in life, I learned sometimes the best deal is the one you walk away from.
Mhm.
And that was one of the hardest lessons, because remember, when we're young, we want things, right?
Yeah.
But we don't know why. And sometimes you want things that, maybe resonate with us, but they're coming from our ego. Ego wants it. So when I become older, I learn how to take the pause and ask myself, why do I want this? I'm not impulsive. So when I was younger, I was more impulsive, but you know what? It wasn't a curse. It was a blessing, because it got me where I am. Nobody in my family knew or believed in me that I'm going to be living in the United States. Everybody thought I'm crazy. I remember my older cousin, he's older 4 years. He said, a cactus will grow on his arm, on his hand, if I go to United States. And I'm like,
Wow.
okay, where is the cactus? I'm still waiting.
It's still growing.
So I was always fearless. Since I was a kid also, I believe in numerology. I love
Interesting.
numbers, and my number in all equation comes to number 1, which is a leader. And I truly believe in that.
That's really powerful.
So
Wow.
I was always looking for answers. Everything what I've done in my life, or even what I envision, I'm very logical. I'm an Aquarius. So everything has to
make sense.
Exactly. Which
Yeah.
is really tough when you become a parent.
The numbers
Okay.
need to add up. Yeah. So you left Poland
Mhm.
to come to the US directly?
Yes. So I had to do the sneaky way.
Okay,
Guys,
tell me.
I'm a very creative person.
Might be different now, people, okay?
No, it still works, I
Yeah.
believe. Back in the day, we couldn't leave. I was young, and Poland wanted young people to stay at home because you need to grow the economy. So young
Interesting.
kids, if they leave, then who's going to pay their dues?
The future's leaving.
Exactly.
Wow.
So they were really difficult. And but I found this agency. It's called Au Pair.
Oh, of course. Yes, we know au pair.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to become an au pair.
And like, what, was it 15, 16?
I was 20.
20, okay.
19, going
Okay.
on 20, yes. I'm just finished high school, just right after high school.
Yeah.
But my visa was denied.
Interesting.
So I was
Wow.
devastated. So I went to college. That's why I actually have a delay in 1 year, because I had to go back to college. Now I just finished high school,
Mhm.
and my dreams were like, oh my God, I'm going to the United States. I have no plans. Boom, red tape.
Wow.
So I had to, humble myself. And I said, I'm going to try one more time. And what was really nice, the family that chose me originally, they called me the day the kids were born, because they had a set of twins.
Yeah.
And they said, you know what, the babies are born, but don't worry, we're going to wait for you. And they did. I went the next year. I showed the government I'm at school. I'm going to come back
Wow.
after 1 year of being an au pair. And they said at the interview, the Logan family is waiting for you. Go
Wow.
have fun. And that's what happened. What happened?
And was like your plan in the back of your head to always just stay here and
Yes,
really
it
build
was.
your life
It was.
here?
Yes,
This was
it
your
was
entry.
my. Yes, it
And
was.
all of your family, for the most part, is back in Poland.
Yes, I'm the only one.
Where does someone get the kind of courage? Like, where do you learn to get that courage that I'm going to leave and move across the world
It's
and
in
build
your
myself?
soul.
Wow.
It's here. You have to feel it. And United States is my home. And I travel around the world, and I don't
Yeah.
have that feeling. This is a special place for me. I don't understand. I actually even don't understand it myself. But
Mm.
this is my home. I always felt it since I was 6 years old.
That's so incredible. You know, sometimes we get like drawn to
Mhm.
places, you know, like myself, like my whole family's in Canada.
Mhm.
Canada's much closer to the US than Poland is,
Right.
but I always felt this need to to
Mhm.
leave, like a fish trying to jump out of the fishbowl. I don't
Right.
know why. I just wanted to
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
And then when you're here, you kind of understand it.
Right.
There's like just this incredible energy.
But for me, it was really crazy. And I go back, even on my tough days, I go back to those memories. I remember watching MTV. Probably
Mhm.
nobody remembers what MTV
We
is.
remember some MTV stars for sure.
There was this song by Will Smith, "Welcome to Miami."
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Of course we know that song.
So, I mean, I live in Boston for 20 plus years, but always back and forth in Miami. I'm living in Miami full time since
Yeah.
2021. But I always knew I'm going to live in Miami.
Wow.
And the other place I always knew I'm going to be in was Aspen. And I also own a house over there too. So
Aspen is beautiful.
Mhm.
So let's get into entrepreneurship
Okay.
a little bit. Let's get into being a business owner
Mhm.
because, you know, it's like very humble beginnings. You come, you know, from a village, we'll call it, but a town or a city, a
They're
small
gonna hate
city.
me now.
They're going to be like, you're calling us a village? We
It's a
have
small little
grocery
town,
stores.
yes.
What's wrong with you? You know, but a small place in Poland,
Right.
okay? And, you know, family oriented,
Mhm.
all your mom's siblings are helping and standing in lines and everyone's coming together, but it was still very fun. Like I remember also like going and knocking on all the doors to see who wants to play
Yeah.
basketball. Like looking back, it was really fun because we didn't know any better.
Right.
We didn't know a different
Yeah.
world. This is the world we knew. And you leave at 19, 20 years old
Mhm.
to fulfill your dream of coming to America because you were always called to it.
Right.
And then eventually being an au pair ends.
Mhm.
And what was the next step for you when you were like, all right, I'm here. This au pair dream is starting to fade away.
So, well, I always like to make money, not because I love, you know what? I'm going to say it. I love money.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I don't know anyone that does it.
I
but
mean, like some people just want to feel embarrassed about it. No, I love, but I also like create. I love to create and add value to society, but I also believe making money gives opportunities for other people. I'm very generous with everything I do. I believe the highest currency is time. Time is the only one thing you can ever buy back.
So true.
So you have to value that more than money. But everything I do in my life, it's not because I want to make a certain amount of money. I always think what this is going to bring and how this is going to help others. So since I was a kid, I was, selling sunglasses, I always had little businesses, I actually work with my grandfather, who was love of my life. I would collect scrap, what a story.
Yes.
And I would sell scrap metal in our
Wow.
junkyards to make money. I would collect bottles to make money. So I always want to have my, cash, and I always want to invest in things like clothing or, nice sneakers. Like my mom was like, I'm only going to give you, let's say $20. If you want $100 sneakers, you have to make the rest. So my mom actually put that in my head. So I always
Amazing.
wanted all or more, back then more. So
as you get older, you want less, or you have more and it becomes less important?
No, I want it all.
You want it all.
Whatever there is, whatever there is out there for me, I want it. I want it in this lifetime too.
Beautiful.
I won't stop till I get it all.
I love that.
So when I was an au pair, I worked really hard. I mean, twins, the family had 2 older boys from the dad's first marriage. It was hectic. The mom was a business owner. She was, a beautiful human being, just the same as dad. And I saw that in this woman. I'm like, wow, you can have it all again. You can be a mom, you can be a business owner, you can, you can do a lot of things. So she was my little hero.
Wow.
And they needed me because the twins were the twins are just about 1 year old when I came in. And prior to me, they have another au pair, and that was very difficult for the kids. So they asked me, we want you to stay longer. But, again, red tape. And I'm like, I know you want me to stay because I know I'm doing a
Yeah.
good job, but this is going to be give and take. You need to help me
Mm.
with my papers. And I said,
Wow.
I want to go to college. I can't just sit here, and change diapers.
Mhm.
And they did. They applied for my student visa.
Wow.
They sponsored my visa and they applied for my student visa. And, that's how my journey started, learning more English. I didn't speak any English when I moved here.
Wow.
I was working, helping the family and going to college at the same time.
Oh, your English is amazing. So good for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
It really is. You mentioned your grandfather,
Uh-huh.
which you mentioned was the love of your life.
Yes.
And I always, usually at the end of this podcast, I always allude to someone who played a significant role in your life, because anyone that I've ever met, and I'm sure this is the same for you, that is successful, no one's ever done it alone. It's very rare that you're just walking down the street and you trip on a rock and it turns into a special number that leads to your whole life. It's always someone that takes time out of their life to teach and to educate and to support and to be that person. Everyone needs that person. What's up, founder to founder fam? I just want to quickly pause here and thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of this journey. Starting a podcast is no joke, and the fact that hundreds of you listen every single week means the world to us. We want to continue to bring better and different and unique conversations to you to give you the most amount of value. Our only ask is that if you enjoy the pod, to please just share it with a friend, and most importantly, leave a comment, DM us, give us any sort of feedback. This entire production is for you, so if we can make it just 1% better, we will. We love you all. All right, let's get back into the pod. I want you to talk a little bit about your grandfather, because it sounds like not only did he play a significant role in your life, a lot of the success that later came on was because of that relationship. And I want to hear more about it.
I never thought about it. Thank you. I was the first granddaughter in the family, and he couldn't even, he didn't remember my name. So he called me Conta Quinta.
How many grandkids total?
What? I was the second one, but then, more came in, but this name just came out from nowhere. I was supposed to be a boy. So when I was born, there was no name. My mom is like, what am I going to name this girl? And my aunt was just on a school trip. And Kinga, she was a Hungarian princess that was
amazing.
Married to Polish king.
Wow.
And she fell in love with the story. So when Kinga came to Poland to meet her future husband, the king, she saw all these poor people on the street, so she thrown her ring on the ground, and they started digging, and they found mines of salt.
Wow.
So it's a big story. So then when you look about my name, Kinga means the warrior. So I felt like there was always some kind of destiny, and I do believe in karmic and reincarnation and all those things, because that's what resonates with me. But my grandfather, my parents were busy, both working. My dad was, he's retired now, but he was an engineer. He drove trains. My mom was working at the store with clothing. That's probably, I love clothes so much. But my grandparents were present. I was always with them. And with my grandfather, I felt that love. Just going to the store every day, cooking, and just going for walks. I was able to be a kid. Wow. And he begged me not to leave. He knew I'm not going to come back. He felt it.
He knew it.
Yeah, but I said I have to go. And, funny you say this, because I want to say, like, we always heard that, behind every great man is a great woman. I feel, I'm great because of the men that I was with in my life.
That's super powerful. And it's so true. And, I want to get into how this led to all of your success to follow with King of Steel. And like, when did that really start for you? Because you had this inside of you since you were a little girl in Poland, and you've always just taken the next step. And when did you know that this was your next step in building this business?
So I can't take credit for all. And of course I had hard times
Definitely.
especially in my 20s. Mid-20s were really difficult for me. I'm not gonna lie.
What was the most difficult moment you went
Just
through?
being single. I really don't resonate in dating with men or guys because I always want to be with the special person. And being single, I was okay with that, but there was a pressure from my family. You're 25, 26, we want kids. What's
Yeah,
going on?
You're getting old. What's going on? The pressure.
And my grandfather passed.
How old were you when he passed?
I wanted 26, 27.
That must have been hard.
It was very difficult, and I couldn't go to the funeral. So I haven't seen him for X amount of years already. 6 or 7, and then I couldn't go back. So because of my visa, the laws are very difficult. When you change your status in the United States, then Poland doesn't want you to leave. It wasn't even the United States, it was more the Poland back in the day. So that was a very challenging time for me. And that's when I went back to being more spiritual again. I had to find myself, like my core, not to listen to outside noise, that I have to get married, I have to have kids. I always want to have kids more. Like I want to have a lot of kids, but we get to that later.
Okay, noted. We'll get into the kids later.
But I just had to, take a deep breath. And I met this gentleman, he was from Russia. And I said to him, you know what? I'm not feeling that well. I'm a little depressed. I don't know what's in the future for me. And he said, Kinga, please sit down and think about life like a painting. And I start painting your life. And when you finally die in whatever you are, like 90, 80, 100, who cares? That's when the painting is going to be revealed. And that really stuck into my head, And I said, you know what? I just got to be kind to myself and take a step by step. So, I invested, money in sneakers. I would run and just look for jobs and just try to, just be consistent. But but at the same time, it was so difficult because I did feel alone. I mean, it's been already so many years, 2009. So 7 years being on my own. I dated here and there, but like I was alone and I had never had a plan B. I'm the plan B. I always had to follow myself. Like I couldn't call my mom, hey, I'm short on money. Can you,
send me some money
to pay, for electricity bill.
Like come home.
Exactly. And I could never because, they didn't bet on me. They all thought I'm going to go back home. So my ego was so high. I'm like, I am not going home.
I will do whatever it takes to prove.
So I finished school and I started working I had a 1 year to work legally in a marketing firm, which I started, and I met my husband.
Wow. And you were 27?
I met my husband 28.
28. So you're 28. You get married?
I did get
married. Right away?
We moved in together like a month later, and we got married in a year. Yes.
Love at first sight?
Second
sight?
He was a little older. I was again, like I was in my spiritual world. I felt like I don't need to be in a relationship to feel as a whole.
Interesting. Yeah.
I was completed, I believe that I'm everything and I have everything. That's my card, that's my mantra every day. And I think that's why I draw him in, because he saw that light, he saw this woman, I want to call myself a girl back then, but I think he saw that I'm not only independent, but, I was confident inside. I didn't know I was that confident, but he did. So Stephen, he was the 3rd generation in steel business.
Wow.
His great grandparents came from Russia, and he was divorced. I was his second wife, and we just had fun. The first 2-3 years we just travel, and he would just answer the calls, and I learned so much of this business just being with him. But there was a time, 2013, the steel business was really going the wrong direction.
Mm.
So I don't know if any of our listeners understand steel business or, even know anything about it, but, we carry ferrous and non-ferrous commodities. And normally, it's not that you're always making money on both ends.
Right.
Sometimes the non-ferrous will carry the non-ferrous and so forth. But 2013 was a year that everything was going down, all the numbers, the commodities were going down. So there was no carry over. Like we couldn't figure out, how we're going to pay our payroll. So I said, Steve, like, I really want to go back to work. Like, I just don't want to sit here. And I was itching, even when we were traveling and having a nice time. I was itching for more. I knew I can just be a staying-home wife, and it's nothing wrong with that. It was just not in my DNA. So he said, you know what? Why not? So I went to the office, and he was almost semi-retired at that point. There was no interested in this business because he had to start working in sales business because years ago the company also was going a little under. So his parents wanted him to come back and revamp the business, which he did. He always wanted to do interior design. That was his dream.
Oh, okay.
So he was burned at that time. And I said, you know what? If you're going to trust me, let me just run it. And he did. He was a very modern man. He put a lot of trust in me.
That's amazing.
We didn't get divorced, but there was the two of our hardest years in our marriage. We were going up and down with the business. But, that was the first time I had an anxiety attack because I really didn't know if we're going to make it. So that was the time I had to really sit down and face the real music.
Wow.
I'm like, we can just go broke.
Wow.
But then something switched in my brain because I was always wondering what the competitors are doing, what's going on. And I look in the mirror, I'm like, why am I putting all this energy outside our company? I'm just going to focus on 2nd Street. I'm like, you know what? This is what we're going to do. And I started making major changes, invest in technology, I decided to actually bring a trucking company instead of having our fleet of trucks in a company because that was where the payroll was going, all the insurances. So I just started making changes and I completely forgot about the outside world. I said, this is my home and I'm just going to, just go in here again with my soul and we're just going to run it. And we did.
So what does that mean when you say when you say I cut out everything else? You mean I lived at the office. I did not have a life outside of work.
No.
I went all in full time.
24 months all in.
All in.
All in. Wake up every morning at 4 a.m., finish work at 4 p.m., go home and, reply to emails and back and forth.
And do you believe, and I want to continue with the story, this is an amazing story, but do you believe that that's what it takes to get through some of the most difficult times in business? Because everyone listening to this either A, has gone through that, or if they haven't, bad news, it's coming.
Of course.
And if it's happened and it happened a long time ago, it's probably coming again. And when we go through these difficult times, going in is a superpower. And is that something that you think is just required in those most difficult times?
So from my experience, I didn't start as a CEO, first of all. I started under, obviously lower positions. My husband was the president of the company and I didn't want to just jump, the hoops and be on the power. I really want to learn the business. So in order to learn the business, you have to go all the way in. You have to sleep in the office. And, steel business is such a masculine. I was
going to say, I wonder how the people in the office responded.
They didn't like it.
Yeah, not only just show up one day and say,
exactly.
I'm here.
And I was pretty young. Just turned 30, 31, and nobody wanted to listen to me. It's like, what this young girl comes in? We have employees that just retired. He was working for a company for 38 years.
Yeah, I've been here for years.
And I have to respond to you.
Wow.
And so that was difficult. But, Stephen was, he was one of the greatest mentors I had. He said to me, listen, you just got to pick up the phone and you just got to yell in. That's it. And, I would hire people, but then, there were people that were not doing the job and they work for us for already 10 years, right? For him. But I've noticed there were some things.
And you would fire them?
he would ask me to go and fire them. I swear.
That must have been crazy.
No, I was
You've been working
stressed.
here for 10 years, but I just showed up, by
And
the
I'm gonna
way,
fire you.
and you're fired.
Yes, it was. But you know what he said? Steve said, listen, Kinga, you know, it's so easy to hire people. That's the easiest job.
Yeah, of course. You're giving them money.
Right.
They love you.
The hardest part is to find people, and you need to learn that. So, you know, he always was pushing me, which is amazing. I mean, I would call the export yard for better pricing, and they would tell me, tell Steve to call us, and they would hang up on me. I had zero respect. I had to earn my respect. That's why I spent, you know, I lived, you know, day and night. It was just the steel business, to the point that Steven said, if you're going to come home at 4 and talk business, we're going to get divorced. We need to still have some time together, which I appreciate, you know, he did that, but it was tough.
Wow. Yeah, I want to get into the women in business part, because what's so unique about your experience is like you didn't go and jump into a very feminine field. I mean, the steel business, probably a bunch of dudes that have been there for decades, 10 years, 20 years. Everyone knows each other. It's the same game. You know, everyone knows. Like you pick up the phone, like, what's up, man? How's the kids? Right. And then now you're here. Right. Hello. And there must have been.
I was the youngest. Now I'm the oldest. Can you believe this? Because it's sweet. I mean, it's cycle.
The generation's full, right?
So now I'm one of the oldest people in this business, especially with the export yard. So it's a funny story, yes. But no, it was not easy. But I took it to my advantage. I mean, first of all, I'm not going to lie, but I did, you know, wear modest clothing. I never want to be seen as a
I was going to say, did you feel like you shrunk yourself a little bit to fit in?
Yes.
I always find that interesting.
I did. And also I listened. In the beginning, I was this fierce, but it wasn't paying off. Like some of the older generation, especially men, they want to hear that I'm respecting them. And so I had to just a little sugarcoat it, you know, even if I knew that maybe they're incorrect, I had to just listen and then say, kind of in a sense that you've been in business for so long, I'm learning from you. I had to make my bed, you know?
It's actually like what you're saying. It sounds so simple, but it's so far from simple, because your ego, and I want to prove to you that I'm smart enough and I deserve to be here. And the entire environment is basically posed against you in a way.
Yes.
What would you say? I want to continue the story, but just for those listening, specifically some of our incredible female founder members, but just also women in business in general, what would you say to them if they can resonate with you? Like, I'm in a field right now, or I'm in a world that's very male dominated, and I feel the heat from that. And it doesn't, like, I don't feel accepted. What's one thing you would share with them just going through your own experience?
I would say, just see the big picture. Take it day by day, see the big picture. You know, men have bigger egos than women, I want to say. Men are so egomaniacs. And, you know, I would sit at the table and, you know, everybody who has, you know, the better car, you know, better watch. So that was for me the time when I could step in with my female energy and actually close a deal, because I knew how to navigate to that energy and make everything more softened and, you know, more like vibrant in a sense. So use it in your power for women. Yes. I mean, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't go, you know, in a miniskirt to a location.
To the yard site.
I wouldn't be treated with respect or seriously. But, you know, if that what works in your industry, go for it. I mean, guys are playing, I want to say dirty, but, you know, whatever is going to make, you know, close your deal, especially in the beginning. But listen and learn. Don't think even your opponents or competitor are your enemies. They're not. You know, they play a part in your movie. Wow. I call people extras, you know. I'm like, this is my movie. And I'm like, these are my extras. Sometimes I'm like, why did I ask for so many extras at the airport? I didn't need so many of them. Yeah. But that's how I look at life. And that was the hardest lesson for me too when I entered to that industry, just to be patient.
Wow. I want to keep going on this, but I love how everything is in a way like either a picture or motion picture for you, because you started off with the analogy of a painting that's not yet finished, and now it's like the movie, which is again in a way a painting when there's other people involved. And it's such an incredible mindset. At what point in this journey with Steven did you realize we're gonna make it? Like this is gonna be something much
I always
bigger?
when you're gonna make it. I mean, he was a partner that I knew I'm gonna be happy even if we were homeless.
Oh,
That
that's
was never
amazing.
a case, you know. We both had that drive, and you know, I met a friend in Miami here. When she met me, she said, you know, you're one of those people that, you know, somebody can take all your money and throw them in the air. You're gonna be the one picking the money anyway. Like
Yeah.
some people just have that charisma, and I think for me, I've been so successful because again, I don't chase the cash. It's always it's there's more for me. It's not a number. It's just the value in it. You know, I see as adding value. I feel responsible for all my employees. And it's not just, you know, it doesn't matter how many employees you have, 5, that means it's 20 because they have wives and kids. When you have 100, you have probably 500, right?
Yeah.
So
a lot of mouths.
I take that seriously.
Yeah, you bear the weight. Tell me about the business now. Like what's your life look like now? This is, you know, years later. Paint the picture of how things are now, your mindset towards things now, years of experience, been through a lot. What's it look like now for you?
So, as I mentioned, 2013 was a very difficult time, and equipment was falling apart. You know, we were just not ready for that change. This was actually a market that hasn't happened in, I want to say, 60 plus years.
Wow.
It was completely unexpected for like a lot of businesses, and still went out of business. I said to my employees back then, I said, I'm going to be the last woman standing on the street. And they believed me. So you're only good as your team. You have to, I'm not the smartest woman in the room, but I'm smart enough to know that. And I know how to pick a great people to do the job. And that's a skill.
Superpower.
And, you know, I can't do it all. I know that. I wish, but, you know, I have to step back. And what I've learned all these years that, you know, everybody has a different ways to getting to from A to B. And I'm just letting them be, you know, maybe I would done some things a little differently and maybe in a faster phase or pace, but it doesn't matter. I'm a leader, and when things are great. When things are bad, they need to be there with me. So I don't micromanage too. I don't micromanage my guys. Actually, you know, all my employees are men. Still, I have great managers. But you know, while you see my picture from outside, you know, I have a great life, which I really do. I'm thankful for everything. There was another dark time in my life. You know, my husband suddenly passed away in 2020. He had a massive heart attack.
Wow.
My life changed in 30 minutes. You know, the rag was pulled underneath my knee, underneath my legs, and there was no floor. I was just falling. And our son was only 2 years old that time.
Wow.
And we just sold our house, and we were on the way to move here. And that was December 18, just, you know, before Christmas. And Christmas is a big day for us because we have a company party, you know, we're closing the year. And my Christmas was a funeral.
Wow.
And all my employees were freaking out. You know, they love Steve. He was such a great man. I mean, just besides the fact that he was a mentor, he would just take his shirt off and give it to you. He was super loving, you know, charismatic, and then he would just give you the world, you know. And he saw you.
Wow.
He was he was the love of my life. And you know, the employees start coming to me and freaking out, like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, the show must go on. We're going to keep moving forward with the pain. All of this happened, you know, now when I look back in my life, you know, even learning about the business, listen to this conversation, him pushing me, you know, firing all these people, teaching me all the commodities. You know, when you look at the life as a painting again, these were all...
It's preparing you.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so powerful. And, you know, so many moments have tested you,
Mm.
and your mindset has just been like, just listening to it. I know everyone who's listening, or at least people who are in the room, is like blown away right now. And I find that sometimes life tests you, but it kind of takes you to the point where you might break. You might
I know,
not
it
bounce
broke
back.
me. That broke me. I'm not gonna lie. I was in such a dark place
Mhm.
that I do not wish upon anybody, not even my worst enemy. I was expressing this to my girlfriend. I said to her, you know how I felt? I will go on walks with my son and I want everybody dead.
Wow.
This is such a powerful and scary feeling when you're looking at people and you want them dead. I said to myself, Kinga, what is going on with you? But my boy, Kai, is my anchor. And I was listening to David Kessler, which he deals with a lot of grief. There was there was a podcast or interview, I don't remember, and somebody asked why. And we always ask ourselves why. And you know what he said? Why not you? Would it be better if that happened to your sister or to you or your neighbor? And that really rewired my brain. I said, you know what? What is my why? My why is because I'm a strong person
Mhm.
and I'm gonna carry over this company. I'm gonna help all the employees to move forward, and I'm gonna show everybody that we can all rise like phoenix through the
Wow.
pain. And it was a lonely journey. It took a lot of courage for me. That was during COVID. You couldn't go to the gym. You couldn't, hang out with your friends. Remember, all my family's in Europe. Nobody can come in. The
Just
gates
by
are
yourself.
closed. My mother-in-law, I moved to Miami. My mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, they live in Boston. So I'm really alone. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? And you know what I did? I buy myself a jumping rope. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna start jumping
Oh, wow.
on my balcony and push myself, every day to do more jumps. I just saw you actually on social media. You
Yeah.
did that crazy challenge.
Still doing it. Okay, I got 700 pull-ups today.
But
yeah.
but I understand this,
Yeah.
it really resonated with me. So like I started with 50 jumps, 100 jumps, and 1,000 jumps. And that's when the Instagram Kinga still kind of came to life,
Mhm.
because I noticed a lot of neighbors are following me because of the consistency, And when you jump a rope, just like you're doing the push-ups, I mean, you're doing on a hardcore. I mean, you're starting
Yeah.
with 1,000.
Yeah, it's not fun.
That's insane. But my journey was a little different. That if you're consistent and you're adding every day,
Mhm.
you can really move the mountains.
It's like climbing a mountain. You take just one step and another step, and then eventually you look back. You're like, whoa, we've come up a really long way. I want to get into the fitness a little bit, because there's this funny thing that I've noticed, and I don't even know if there's a statistic behind it, but every time I meet an entrepreneur or anyone, a high functioning individual, and they're in great shape, you're obviously in great shape.
Thank you.
There's a tie between being in great shape and then having discipline in all these other areas of your life. Talk to me a little bit about, obviously fitness was really important to you. This jump rope during COVID, in a way, kind of like gave you a sense of something to do, a purpose. Has fitness always been one of your anchors in your life, or did you develop it? Like, did it start with that jump rope?
Yes. I mean, always I was active. Steven was a great athlete. I mean, this guy was one of the first snowboarders, divers. I mean, amazing, just genetics. I was a little lazy. I'm not gonna lie. I was depending more about my, age than, going to the gym. There were better things to do. But the journey with the fitness came because I want to feel the pain in my body, not just inside.
Interesting. Like
And
a release, let it out.
Not even let it, I want to just feel the pain. I just want to I want to have that sore muscle. I just didn't want to walk the next day. I just want to be in physical pain. I know
I don't
you
want to walk tomorrow.
No, but it's,
I feel the same way.
I mean, you think it's funny, but that was just making me feel alive again. And, some people like, tattoos and they get addicted to it. No, but they also, what ask them like, why you have so many tattoos? Some of them, they like the pain of the needle. There is some kind of connection between the brain. But fitness became first of all, I have to do every day something related to fitness. It's non-negotiable. I can
You
even
got
say
it. Negotiable.
negotiable.
But why? Like, is it just something that you've just said, you know what? This is my life now? Or is it just a way of like, I can't operate without it?
It's my time for me. That's
Beautiful.
the time
Yeah.
when I can just be in my zone. I listen to my favorite music and I just can like really disconnect from the world.
We got to know what you're listening to now. What's the music? What is Kinga listening to?
Boy, it depends. I get music. When I travel, I always add, some music. I go to a great restaurant, I Shazam it.
Oh, and you're picking up music as you go.
Yes,
I'm the same way. I love all music.
Yeah, me too. I don't have like a favorite, and it can really depending on my mood. I don't listen to rap music.
Me neither.
I know
it's depressing.
That's the lowest frequency anyway.
Yeah.
So I didn't notice till my friend educated me about this even more. So I stopped completely, and my exercise, exercising is better. I want to say because it's, it motivates me more. But I think, fitness is something that everybody can do it. There's no excuses. You don't have to go to a fancy gym. Mm-hmm. You can do it at home. You can just do a push-up, pull-ups. You can go for a run. Mm-hmm. It's a free dopamine. And it instantly clicks in your head, in your brain, the neurons are working, and then it just helps you condition your body. I mean, this is your taxi here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to help it to run as much as it can. Like you have to fuel your body, like, you fuel it in the car.
The energy.
Yeah.
You're famous for saying, and shout out to Ned for pulling this, that to achieve success, and I agree with this.
Okay.
To achieve success, you have to have a level of obsession.
Yes.
Tell me, first of all, where did that come from? Or is it just you looking at yourself and you're like, whenever I've been obsessed with something, I've seen amazing results?
Yes. And but now I'm more pausing before I'm obsessing because, it can get really dangerous, especially with the manifestation, because when you're really in tune, remember, we're all energy, right? Mm-hmm. We just, we're just filled of energy. So you can really attract, but you have to be really aligned with yourself I ask every morning when I wake up, just whatever you guys want to call it, God, creator, light, whatever that is, I always ask, please give me what it's meant for me. Because I don't, otherwise just shut the door. And there are times I want things too, like that. And
what is something you want right now in your life?
You know what? It's funny you asking me this right now, but I just came back from Paris week and Paris Fashion Week. I was there with Tom Ford team, and it was a beautiful experience. And the paparazzi, all the celebrities. We had beautiful dinner. I went to my hotel room, and I'm like, what Kinga wants now? Like I had like I called my girlfriend, and I'm like, what is the next step? So I closed myself in the room and, just sitting there and thinking about it. And to be quiet, frankly, I don't know. And it's okay not to know.
That's interesting. Yeah.
You just have to go with the flow. Just become like water. Mm-hmm. And just, it will come. I know it's coming, but I don't have an idea what it's going to be next. I know it's going to be a lot. I can feel it, but everything is moving in the right direction. So I'm just putting the puzzles together at this stage of my life.
It's so powerful. One thing that I always kind of steer towards the end of our podcast, but now I have like, I don't know, Ned, we're going to make up 2. There's 2 I do, but I'm going to add 2 more. So we're going to have 4. Is my favorite question. Okay. Is if we were able to bring a younger version of yourself, you can decide the age. Okay. Some people say 5 years old, last week, whatever it is. So when you start, say, I'm bringing X age Kinga here. We're able to bring her right here, pull up a seat to the table, and you were able to share one message about the future, give the younger version of yourself a piece of advice. How old is the Kinga sitting here with us? And what is the one piece of advice that you would tell your younger self?
I don't know how old, 6 years old, maybe. I don't know why these numbers keep coming. I have to look it up. I would say just have your certainty in everything you do. Beyond any logic, just keep going.
That is so powerful. And I want to do another version of this.
Mhm.
And if we were able to, and if you believe in spirituality, then maybe we are able to
Uh-huh.
bring Stephen to the
Uh-huh.
table.
Okay.
What is something you'd love to share with him?
Wow. You really put me on a spot.
You can take your time. We got no rush. The coffee's still warm. We're chilling. We're chilling.
What do I want to tell him now?
Mm-hmm. But he's here.
He's here.
Mm-hmm.
That I love him and very much every day. That hasn't changed. And it will never will. But I would want to thank him for teaching me how to live life to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what we did together. I'm a more controlling person, and even since he passed, I've been traveling all around the world with my son because that's what he planted inside me.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Just living your life. He lived his life like it was the last day of his life.
It's incredible.
That's why he told me like he wasn't not feeling that well at the end anyway, and he told me like he's done baking. So like when you're done baking, you're like finished. But he had a beautiful life, and just enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
You're here for once. Like hello, that's it.
Yeah.
Just no regrets. Take everything as a lesson, and be true to yourself.
Yeah, you never know. You never know how many days you have left. It's such an interesting thing in life. Like I always, my mom reminds me of this a lot. She's always just says like, sometimes we always say there's going to be another time, right? There's it's okay, we don't have to get dinner this week. We'll get dinner next week, or okay, we won't do the vacation this year. We'll do the vacation next year. And it's like, who told you that we're gonna have a next year?
Right.
Who told you that
Time is now.
Who told you I'm gonna be in a good enough shape as I am today? Who knows? Anything can happen.
Yeah.
I had a friend, an incredible athlete, and literally stepping into his car, he just missed just a little step to get into the car and hit his knee on the top, and now his surgery, 8 months, not doing skiing this year, no family trip, like something as simple as a little miss of a step. And he's a young guy.
Right.
And now all of that is canceled. And I'm sure last year they were like, oh, as a family, we're going to go skiing together. Don't worry. And there's no guarantees.
No.
And it's such a power to be able to just be in the moment and love
just dive in.
this moment.
Yeah. I met Alison Dubois. She's very famous medium. Because I just want to connect.
Mediums are super powerful.
Yes,
we need like a whole nother podcast.
Yes, you need actually.
We're coming back again. We're going to do this again. It's going to be a part 2. I'm calling it now. This is amazing.
So, what I learned from the interview with the meeting I had with her, which was very powerful. I mean, I keep going to the tape over and over. It's such an incredible experience. And the message she said to me that it's coming from afterlife is that heaven is on the earth. We create your own heaven. And that was such a powerful message for me, because when you're not here anymore, you can relive those moments. So it's up to you what you want to relive. Do you want to relive your beautiful moments, or, being a victim, or being, not cool with yourself, or having, issues. So that for me was, what? I'm just going to create every day as a beautiful moment for me and my son. So when I'm done baking,
when I'm done, I like that.
When I'm done baking, I'm gonna relive my life.
Okay, so okay, I have to ask this before we wrap up. I have to ask. We didn't even go there, which is why I love this pod. Remember, I told you in the beginning, we're just gonna go wherever.
Okay.
But you've been incredibly successful in terms of building your personal brand.
Thank you.
It's phenomenal. I love your content. I don't even know if it's made for me, like guys like me, but I love it because, one, it's extremely authentic. You basically document what you're doing, and it's fun to follow along. It's who you are. And I feel like
Mhm.
that's like always the trick. Just be you and
Mhm.
the world will respond.
Right.
But just talk a little bit about, because I always like tell specifically founders, business owners,
Mhm.
like you should be sharing your message with the world. Like, oh, I don't know. No one wants to hear, no one wants to see me, listen for me.
Mhm.
Talked about a little bit about like just the power that's like the influence that social media, building your brand has had in your life and how important it is to you.
So I'm actually in the stages that, taking a little break from social media.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't, you haven't probably followed me a year ago. That was
Right.
more active on social media, but I think it's an amazing tool. And even when I post something and I see, all the likes or messages, I'm so grateful
It's
to
so
these
cool.
followers, that they actually are looking into my life. I've been asked to share a little bit more of my private life, but I
It's
try
hard.
to. It's hard, and I try to protect my son too. He's so little,
So true.
and some people don't even know I have a kid, and but that's my life. There are things I just want to keep it and live it in
Yeah.
silence. I think social media is a great tool, and it's not going anywhere.
You can always
So
come back to it.
well, no, but I'm saying as a social
Mhm.
media tool, that thing is not going anywhere. So even for whoever is, I was always against it myself, but don't be. Just be authentic.
Yeah.
And I always want to be. I mean, I always been authentic. That's what. Even when you ask me, is
Mm-hmm.
there anything? I
Mm-hmm.
cannot ask you. I said,
See, whatever.
whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, I have nothing to hide. And if I can, even my story can help any other people, because that's how my journey with social media started. I did not want anybody to feel the way I felt in this painful moment of my
Wow.
life.
That's so powerful. My friend Gary, you actually might know his wife, Gary Lipovetsky.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he always like he's a big, just prominent. Like he always just says, you got to share your story. And then some people say, like, oh, I don't want everyone to know everything about me. And then he's like, well, they'll only see what you show. And you just said, like, I
Mm-hmm.
want to protect my son. I keep some parts of my life private. I share
Mm-hmm.
others. And it's like, it really is your social media. You can decide
Right.
what you post and who you connect with. Kinga, you're amazing. Really. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I don't say that often, as Ned knows, even though we've had some incredible guests. And your story, to everyone that is listening to this, because we know that everyone always listens to the end, is just so powerful. And your ability to be authentic on social, but also, we just met today, and your ability to share and be vulnerable with me just speaks volumes
Thank
of
you.
your connection with yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you so much for coming,
Thank you for having me.
driving 30 minutes, bringing the cousin. We're happy to have you. Like I love it. I love when people bring family, loop it in. Like
Mhm.
family's so important to me. It's so important to you. Like,
Yes.
it's really
In
magical. So
fact, I'm
thank
going to
you.
pick up my son just after this from
Yeah. You see what I
school.
mean? Like
Yeah.
it's all about that. And that's the power. That's the
Thank
magic.
you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you
were
so
incredible.
much. Amazing.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Founder to Founder podcast. And I have one favor, just one favor to ask. Is the only favor I'll ever ask from you. And if you liked what you listened to please like, subscribe, and please just leave a comment. Let us know what you think, how we can make it better. We are all in on delivering value to you. And all we ask in return is that you hit that subscribe. It goes a long way for what we're trying to build here. And as always, we post an episode every single Wednesday. So stay tuned and thank you for tuning in.